Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. Today we're going to be talking about the big beach cleanup coming up pretty soon here on Bainbridge Island with Sustainable Bainbridge. Before we get to that, I want to thank Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for sponsoring these programs. Fieldstone is the company that offers assisted independent living and memory care up off Rolling Bay. You can take a tour of their tranquil campus and even come by for lunch on them. If you call ahead, 206-594-1010, ask for Celia or Jamie. They also offer respite and day stay programs. Their website is fieldstonecommunities.com. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancestral homeland of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water. They have lived along the waters of the Salish Sea since time immemorial, and we are grateful for them and are learning from their stewardship of these lands and waters. And stewardship of lands and waters is a little bit of right on point for what we're going to be talking about today. Let's see, I don't know who would like to start us off here to talk about the Big Beach Cleanup as part of it's an annual event here.
I guess I could sign
Thank
up.
you, Christine.
Volunteer for that. So hi, I'm Christine Perkins. I'm on the board of Sustainable Bainbridge and also chair the Bainbridge Island Beach Cleanup. I'm really excited. Thank you so much for having this podcast so we could share information about what it is for those who haven't heard about it yet. It's hard to believe, but this is our 9th year doing this, which is super exciting. So I think it means next year I have to come up with something great with our team for celebrating 10 years. And what's really exciting is while we've been doing this for 9 years, and it seems like, such a monumental achievement, but we have been doing this with Ocean Conservancy as part of their international coastal cleanup. And what's so great, if you go to their website too, to learn more about the international side of it, is to realize that in the month of September, especially, they have one day that they have the cleanup, but a lot of local cleanups due to tides and other factors don't happen on the same day. Is happening all around the world, every continent, there are cleanups, and they share photos of the cleanups, and it's just really exciting and inspiring to realize it's happening around the world. So we invite anybody to volunteer. You can sign up as an individual, or if you're part of a team, sign up your team, or a neighborhood, anything, and go to our page, which will also be shared, for signing up on the Sign Up Genius page. And there's also a great FAQ page. If you have questions, we try to make it as easy as possible for people to dispose of trash. So we always have a site at Miller Road, just north of it's right by Col Shalom and just south of Bainbridge Island and Bainbridge Gardens. And we always have buckets or grabbers if you want to borrow those there. And if you have trash at the end, you can always dispose of it in your own garbage or bring it to us if you have particularly large finds like tires or ropes or floats or anything like that. And also on our FAQ page, I want to make sure people know, because it's something you can do year round, which is really amazing. There is a My Coast app, and the link is there. And if you find things that you cannot remove from the beach, derelict vessels, appliances have been found, large pieces of debris, pieces of docks that have broken apart and floated on shore, please report it. And that is year round. You can do a day of the cleanup, or if you find things any other time of year, and that a DNR will coordinate a cleanup with our harbor master and the police department to get rid of those things, which is so important because, as you probably know, they break apart and just make smaller pieces, which are really dangerous, particularly dangerous to wildlife. So thank you, and I hope we will see as many people out there as possible. We have 53 miles of shoreline, so there's plenty of space to help. And you can also if you don't want to get to the shoreline, feel free to go along the roadsides to clean up because, as you know, it flows downstream. So any trash you pick up will help our waterways and our wildlife. So thank you so much.
So with 9 years of experience, what kind of a turnout do you generally expect, and what kinds of groups have participated?
Oh, really good question. And we've had, as you can imagine, with the pandemic, quite a bit of variation in years. And we don't require sign up, but we hope to have at least 200 individuals or more out there. And different groups have included anything from scouts to neighborhood groups, Facebook groups to get together and have a team out there, families, faith-based groups, and clubs. A lot of clubs try to put things together, and of course, it's right at the beginning of the school year, so it's a little bit tricky trying to get the momentum going when school's starting and all that craziness. But it's amazing how much people devote time to try and put some type of team or group together to get out there.
Yeah. So as you said, you don't require people to sign up in advance, so you can be inspired by on the day of. Uh, but do you want people, if they can, to let you know that they're doing it?
Yes, and that's also an excellent question. Thank you. Yes, if you think you're going to be out there, please do sign up. It really helps us to keep track of numbers and volunteers. It also helps if you look at the Sign Up Genius, you'll see there's a map and it has locations of different road ends, public beaches, public parks. And it will help you also to see which ones might be super busy, which ones, hey, this spot's empty. It looks like it needs somebody to go clean up. And that's really, really helpful. We also try to have numbers there for spaces. So you have an idea, is there really going to be space for me to park my car there? 35 volunteers, maybe I should look at another site. And some places like our larger parks, like say Bainbridge, lots of parking spaces. And the one thing I forgot to mention is thanks to the Parks Department, at those big beaches, the parks beaches, they also have bins there where you can dispose of your trash and plastic bags for collecting. So you can just go to one of our beaches and one of the parks, grab your supplies there and clean up away. And you can make it into, if you have little kids, you can make it into a treasure hunt, see how many things they can find, see how many fun things they can find, and take pictures and share them. Sometimes you'll find little plastic dinosaurs and can make a whole scene out of it with your kids, but getting all that plastic out is really, really helpful.
No, that makes me think, you mentioned kids, things that I should be careful of if I find on the beach, dangerous things.
Yeah, so unfortunately, some places are people have found needles even, and we do have sharps containers. We'll have one at Miller Road, but hopefully that's not going to be a big issue. Mostly it'll be pieces of sharp glass that haven't quite turned into beautiful sea glass. Some beaches where, especially where the down by the ferry, I'm thinking of Blakely Harbor, there are a lot of rusty pieces, rusty nails, especially in some of the timber pieces that kids and should definitely look out for. Parents should kind of keep an eye out for. But that's a good, if going to those places, please come by our Miller Road site. We're staffed the whole morning of the cleanup, and borrow a grabber and a bucket if you think you might want to work on that.
Thanks. And any of you who have participated, Barbara or Diane, who want to add anything that Christine didn't mention? I know you sent me a link to another screen, Barbara. I don't know if that's something you wanted to share. Something about
which one?
that was about 2023 report of 10 top items.
Yeah, if you can access that, I always find it interesting to see what kinds of stuff turns up in the most quantities. So if you can find that, great. But oh, here we go.
So this is measuring the impact. You think that's probably what it is, or?
Yeah, trying that and see. Try the latest. No. Okay, sorry.
Anyway, this is part of the Ocean Conservancy blog that we looked at to begin with.
Right, and
Ocean
I did write down some statistics. So the 2023 annual report referred to the 2022 global highlights. So they had almost 500,000 volunteers worldwide. They collected 8,158,402 pounds of debris. They collected 15,519,392 items, individual items. So the top 10 was in this order: cigarette butts, plastic beverage containers, food wrappers like candy wrappers and chip bags, plastic bottle caps, plastic grocery bags, other plastic bags, styrofoam food containers, plastic food containers, paper cups and plates, and plastic straws and stirrers. And there was just one factoid. For the plastic beverage bottles, if they were stacked end to end, they would reach the deepest part of the ocean in the Marianas Trench 21 times. It's just, the volume is kind of mind-blowing. Oh, and by the way, the International Coastal Cleanup was started 35 years ago by 2 women. Yay! And what I envisioned for the senior centers, we're going to have a table out in front, and I'm going to get some buckets and grabbers so people who may not be able to easily get to Miller Road can just come to the table and get the supplies at the center. And then I'll figure out the best way to dispose of stuff. So I want to make it easy for our members, and I'm hoping I'm going to work with our membership and marketing committee, because we'd like to see multi-generational teams from our center, because we have so many new members who've come to the island because their kids live here and their grandkids live here. So I'd like if we could be, a point of entry into that experience. Mm. Oh, wow.
Oh, Reed's. You're muted, Reed.
Oh, I'm muted. Yeah, this is I think maybe the screen you were looking for. Christina Wolf sent this.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Anyway, a lot on this oceanconservancy.org website. We'll just mention that. And again, the Bainbridge site beach cleanup is on sustainablebainbridge.org. So if you go to Sustainable Bainbridge, you'll see that it's right off of the homepage, and you can click on it and learn more. And I'm sure that there's the FAQs that Christine was talking about. And
it's super easy sign up process. I think there are 20 slots for Waterfront Park. So I signed up. I'm one of 20. So we need to get more people to join for that day, or in any location that works for them, really.
and
I love the idea of the multi-generational cleanup and activity too, Barbara. That's such a great addition this year. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll help you. We'll figure out a way to get that trash taken care of easily for you.
Okay. Well, we may be able to put it in the receptacle at the senior community center. Or I live nearby, and our condo always have excess room.
You're forever hauling things that need to be recycled from the senior center.
I know.
Thank goodness.
Great. Well, think this is a wonderful activity, and it's amazing that it's been 9 years. And it is also surprising and a little sobering how much stuff we're able to pick up each year.
I like Christine's comment about also picking up things along the road since they eventually make it into the water. Because I'm not sure that everybody makes that connection. So I think that might be a good thing to sort of offer people as an option, especially if you've got anybody who wants to do it, but maybe not comfortable walking on the beach. So I will offer that as an option then. So thanks.
Okay, thank you all. And I am reminding people it is Sunday, September 25th.
No.
I'm sorry, Sunday, September 15th. Boy, I had one job to do and I got it wrong. Sunday, September 15th. There is no Sunday, September 25th.
And can Christina add a little bit too from Islandwood? Do you have time?
Did you have something you wanted to add, Christina?
Oh, I just wanted to lend my voice in the enthusiasm that I've heard from my partners here. You know, we've got so many great community partners. We all work together, like Christine said at the beginning. We were all very sort of, I guess, shocked is the word, to learn that there was no sort of recent, like, city-wide beach cleanup. You know, all those 9 years ago, we sat around that table together. Myself and Christine and Diane were there, and others, and we know that these shorelines, our 53 miles of shoreline, has been stewarded since time immemorial by the Suquamish tribe.
Mhm.
We know that since settlement here, we know that other, you know, homesteaders and families and community members have been stewarding things here and there. I see my neighbors pick up trash. And it's also true that, you know, we really needed something that was much bigger, because, and that was, you know, Christine's leadership, getting us connected to the Ocean Conservancy sort of just took everything to the next level. So we've got organizations like Sustainable Bainbridge, of course, and the Bainbridge Island Land Trust. We have Bainbridge Island Parks and Trails Foundation, Islandwood, where I work. Of course, the Bainbridge Island Senior Center, which has given us some space to talk today. Thank you so much. Bainbridge Metro Park and Recreation District, or as we call it, Parks and Rec. And yeah, the city of Bainbridge Island. So, you know, here we are, you know, all these 9 years later, and it's amazing how much trash we actually pull off of our beaches. One of the things that I hear so frequently from my neighbors is it really worth it? Like, are you finding any trash? And I said, come out with us on September 15th, and I promise you, we will find plenty of trash. There's this, I don't know, like, illusion that we don't have any garbage problems here. That's not true. Christine and Diane and I have been at the Miller Road lot taking trash from people's trunks for 9 years. And it's incredible what we find. A lot of boat fishing equipment, even things from industrial aquaculture, and everything from like those plastic owls that people put on their docks to scare the crows and seagulls away, like everything. In addition to, for sure, plastic straws. I was just backpacking on the North Coast 2 weeks ago, and I pulled 2 trash bags full of garbage out of the Olympic National Park on my own back. I hiked it out. And what I saw a lot of was rope, so much rope pieces, and they're not made out of natural fibers, they're made out of plastic. And so then the ropes fragment apart and they actually get buried in driftwood. Plastic bags. I found a lot of bottles with the
Yeah,
caps on. So
ghosts
we
here,
find that.
huge problem. That's a good
The
point.
the bottles were one of the top 10. I think it was number 2,
Yes.
and it's totally unnecessary.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, we were able to survive in the wilderness without any plastic bottles that were single use only. The only place where we had to drink and filter our water had trash in it, from the trash that had washed in from the ocean. It wasn't even from the campers. This is trash coming in from the seas, and in areas where you have a lot more tidal action and current, you get more trash. So, for example, the west side of Bainbridge Island, where we have, a lot more tidal movement, and we see a lot more trash there. There might be beaches where they are continually stewarded by neighbors, condominium beaches, things like that, where people are walking the beach and they have a sense of ownership over this space. But we're all islanders, and we all need to support the ecological health of these marine environments. And I'll be out there. I want my neighborhood. I live in Fort Ward. I want my neighborhood to join. So I don't have Facebook, but my husband does. And he's going to post on like Fort Ward neighbors and say, hey, our family's going to be down at Fort Ward Park. A couple years ago, we pulled an entire floating dock out of the beach at Fort Ward Park that was buried in the sand and in the bank probably for 20 or 30 years. And we dug it out. We had the kids out there, they were digging. It's very satisfying.
And if I could add to that, Christina, too, and I know you're probably short on time, Reed, at this point, but yeah, it's a great community activity. It's just good to be out there knowing you're doing something good, stewardship, and good for your community, good for wildlife. But if you're curious, Christina touched on the how much is there really that much garbage? Diane Landry has been working really hard with Bainbridge Disposal, and thanks so much to them for helping us. We have a huge dumpster, I didn't mention that, at the Miller Road site. And please, Sarah, the cleanup September 15th, 9 a.m. to noon. And if you're really curious to see at the end, come visit us at noon, and you can peer into the dumpster and see how much we get. And that's just what people bring to the site. So we hope we'll see you out there, and thank you so much. And Diane?
Diane,
Yeah, I just have one more thing, because you didn't bring up Holly Cove, correct?
Correct, I did not mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Christina was speaking of tidal action, and we find that in Holly Cove, which is just north of the ferry, or east of the ferry a little bit, there's always there's a lot of styrofoam there. That's a styrofoam graveyard, we call it. And it's really thick. The styrofoam is, if you put a stick down in there, you pull up like 6 inches down, you pull up styrofoam. So because of Christine Perkins' liaisonship with Ocean Conservancy, which started all this, this year an anonymous donor gave 23,000 or gave money to clean up the Puget Sound, and Deb Rudnick and Margaret Hauk of Parks Department wrote up a grant to for $23,000. We're getting Sustainable Bainbridge / Parks Department is getting $23,000 to maybe finally clean up the mess in Holly Cove. Margaret Hauk has lined up Earth Stewards to pay to get in there and clean up, and we may even actually need a scooper machine, whatever they're called, to dig up the styrofoam in there.
I'll ask my 4-year-old grandson. I think he'll call it an excavator.
Okay.
And he'll correct me if I get it wrong. So is that part of the September 15th activities, or do you need people particularly at Holly Cove, or is that just like a great story about this beach cleanup?
It's both. We every year we ask people to if they want a good place to go, that's one place, because it always needs cleaning up. And I think even if this big cleanup happens, it's still going to need people getting in there. What would you guys say?
I agree. Yeah, if you want to sign up, that's one of the sign up locations. And there's, as Diane pointed out, always something has washed up or is washing up there. And as it would be great to have people out there, and it's a big area too of beach to clean up. But it is also just a fantastic story. We're so excited about this part of the beach cleanup. We have been working on trying to figure out a way to clean up the styrofoam there since we started this cleanup, and to finally have a plan and the funding and the people to make it happen is so exciting. So we're so grateful to Ocean Conservancy and the donor that they're working with for making this possible, because it's a lot of styrofoam noodles. If you're curious, go down to the end of the boardwalk and just stick your arm down into the sand. And as Diane said, grab a handful, and very sadly, in your sand, you'll find a whole bunch of those styrofoam noodles, which we're hoping to finally get rid of there. And then hopefully be able to keep an eye out for things floating up that might break apart and make it worse again. So yeah, very exciting.
Thank you to the grant writers.
Yes, a big thank you to Morgan and Deb for putting that together.
Okay, thank you very much for reminding us about this. And the best place to go to remind yourself about the FAQs is the Sustainable Bainbridge website, because that's where you can get to everything else. I did not mean to skip over you, Christina. Is there anything else that we want to mention? Because we certainly have a open time here. And otherwise, thank you, and we'll see you on the beaches.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks,
Thank you
Reed.
so much.
Thanks, Reed. Appreciate it.